The AFC and NFC Championship gave us one great game and one game where almost nothing happened in the second half. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a deeper look into these two games and looking at the best performance from each skills position during the conference championships from the 2025 to 2026 season. But before the video starts, comment down who you think had the best conference championship performance. Let's first look at the quarterbacks. And this man, Sam Darnold, absolutely cooked. And the Seahawks are headed to the Super Bowl. Sam threw for 346 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and had a rating of 127.8. We all knew going into this game that the NFC was looking a lot stronger, and these two games that the Rams and Seahawks had previously played had been some of the best games all year. One of Sam's and the Seahawks' biggest weaknesses in those games was Sam's turnovers, as in those first two games, he had 6 interceptions in 2 games. And I thought for the Seahawks to have a really good chance to beat the Rams, Sam would need to take care of the ball this game. And in a 4-point victory, that's exactly what he did. The Seahawks were also able to capitalize in big moments of the game, like scoring before halftime. And Darnold was also able to get his wide receiver 1 in JSN going very early in the game, along with being able to spread out the ball. He even got a touchdown to Cooper Kupp. It's pretty cool to see Kupp rising in the playoffs, as he's kind of been dormant all year. But we all know Kupp knows how to show up in big moments, as he was a Super Bowl MVP. I will do an honorable mention in Matthew Stafford. Obviously, I would have had a lot better things to say about him if they were able to pull off a miracle on that final drive, but I just had one major gripe with his performance, which I'll touch on in the defense. He still did have pretty good stats, and he's very lucky he didn't get an interception as he was very close, but Stafford threw for 374 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and had a rating of 127.6. I will admit, putting up these numbers at age 37 is insane, so I will give him his flowers in that regard. He also put his body on the line a few times, even rushing for a crucial first down. I mean, he obviously did want to win, just like the rest of the team, but just came up short. So I'm definitely excited to see if the Rams can be this good next year. And that moves us onto the running backs. And the best running back is the exact same running back who was the best in the divisional round. If you want to go check out that video, it's linked below. But that man is none other than Kenneth Walker. Walker had 19 carries for 62 rush yards, averaging 3.3 yards a rush, 1 rushing touchdown, catching 4 passes for 49 yards as well. So he was able to break over 100 total yards for the game. And I think a big mystery going into this game was how Keenan was going to be without Charbonnet on the field. We all know they've kind of been like a Batman and Robin this season, and Kenneth Walker is just having a great postseason. As the Seahawks had the bye in the first round, he's only played in 2 postseason games this year, but in those games, he has 4 total TDs, and I think that he'll be a big focal point of the Seahawks game in the Super Bowl. Let's hope they learn from their mistakes and don't pass it on the goal line. And that brings us into the honorable mentions. And my honorable mention is not a running back, but a quarterback, so it kind of counts because he had a good rushing day. Not really though, I'm trying to be positive here. But May rushed 10 times for 65 yards, averaging 6.5 yards a rush, and he had 1 rushing touchdown. This was the only touchdown for the Patriots the entire game, and one of May's best and most underrated traits is his rushing ability. And with neither team being able to score in those horrible conditions, and I don't know how you can't just love that final play call that the Patriots did to really punch our ticket to the Super Bowl. Nobody was really expecting a QB run on 3rd and 6, so I just had to include May just for that. But if you want me just to talk about traditional running backs, Blake Corum had a pretty good game, a lot better than Kyron, and Ramondre Stevenson was also pretty good too. And that takes us into the wide receivers. And it's just funny to me how the 2 best wide receivers are of course the 2 best people in the conference championships. And my pick for the best wide receiver has to go to Jackson Smith-Njigba. He had 10 catches for 153 yards, averaging 15.3 yards a catch, and he had a 1 receiving touchdown. I was really happy with how much they included him in the offense, as in the game versus the 49ers, he didn't have to do much besides his receiving touchdown. But in this game, we really got to see a generational wide receiver battle between JSN and Puka. But what really made me choose JSN as the best receiver, obviously minus the win, as he was a leading receiver for the majority of this game. Obviously that final catch from Puka where he didn't go out of bounds did inflate his stats a little bit more, and also for the fact that JSN did it on less targets, having 12 targets compared to 14. And I also can't forget that JSN one-handed catch was just so clean. JSN is just such a fluid wide receiver. I do think Puka has more spectacular catches, and he fights for yards better than really anyone else in the NFL. But in my opinion, JSN has just had a better year. And that takes us into the honorable mention. And the honorable mention is obviously Puka Nacua. I'm not trying to take anything away from him because he still did have a great game. He had 9 catches for 165 yards, averaging 18.3 yards a catch and 1 receiving touchdown. He did finish as the leading receiver of the game and was tackled just inches away from a crazy play. I wish I could have seen an alternate universe in which he would have made it out of bounds and Stafford could have had a final play. Most likely, the Seahawks still would have won, but we could have witnessed an NFL all-time moment. And that takes us onto the tight ends. And there's really only one tight end I can talk about who had a semi-decent game. And that tight end was Colby Parkinson. He had 3 catches for 62 yards, averaging 20.7 yards a catch, and he didn't get a touchdown. The Rams easily have one of the best tight end cores in the entire NFL, so it only makes sense that one of their tight ends stepped up. And that takes us into the final part of the video, which is the defense. And the best defense of the conference championships was the New England Patriots. To be fair, they did play in really bad conditions, and the Broncos did have a backup in Jarrett Stidham in the game, but they still did force and recover 1 fumble and also got an interception, along with allowing no more than 7 points to be scored on them, which happened in the first quarter. A game to end 10-7 is kind of boring for an AFC championship. And I definitely do feel this game would have ended a lot differently if Bo Nix would have played, but the Patriots were just so confident that the Broncos could not score in the weather, so they just kept punting the ball right back to them and stopping them. So I guess the performance has to be applauded. The Seattle Seahawks defense still has a few things to highlight. We all know how good this defense has been all year, and for them to get 27 points scored on them, it's a little out of character. And the most important stat that I wanted to bring up for the Seahawks, and is kind of a gripe on Matthew Stafford, is they held Stafford to 0 of 7 on passing on 3rd down. This is something that Stafford has never done in his career out of 252 starts. But that will do it for the video. If you guys have any questions, comments, or ideas, make sure to comment them down below. I want to hear your guys' predictions on who you think is going to win the Super Bowl. Is it going to be the Patriots? Is it going to be the Seahawks? And who is going to win the Super Bowl MVP? But that will do it for the video. See you guys.